As Bipolar Barbie here, and today I am doing a video in response to a fan question of a beautiful young fan of mine that messaged me recently, and I'm pretty sure her exam was today. She's sitting her final year 12 exams, and she was really stressed out about this exam that she had, and she said that she had failed previous exams and she was really determined not to fail another one. And it sounds like she'd been working really, really hard. But her concern was that she couldn't remember anything that she had been trying to teach herself. And she was really stressed. And it was stressing her out that much that she got to the point where she really just feels suicidal. That she is not good enough. That she is completely inadequate. And I can relate to that. I can really relate to that on so many levels, and it really breaks my heart when people who are so young really feel that pressure. And I think I didn't notice the pressure so much when I was at school because I was good at school. It was sort of more when I left school that things started to be really bad and things started to really go downhill, and I just was not used to that. It was really, really hard for me, and I guess I'm just super passionate about this topic. And the advice that I would give, I guess, to someone like this young fan at school, finishing off school, and I've learned so much since I left school. You know, one of them is that school was actually a really cool place. You got to hang out with your friends, you got to do lots of activities, and life does just go downhill from school for a long time, I think, for a lot of people that I know. But in school, there is so much emphasis put on the fact that school is everything. You know, how well you do at school defines how well you do at life, and I'm a living example that that is completely bullshit. I mean, I did really well at school, and that technically meant that I was going to skyrocket through life and have this amazing trajectory. And you know what? That didn't happen. I peaked at school. I really peaked at school. And after that, it was I just fell down this giant cave. And it was just this hole, this never-ending hole. And I think looking back now, I've kind of come full circle and really realized that I did hit rock bottom. Maybe. I mean, there is an endless amount of pain that you can feel in this world, and there's an endless amount of shit that can happen to a person. And just when you think that you've hit rock bottom, you kind of go, wow, you know what? That wasn't rock bottom. This is rock bottom. But my advice to anyone who is stressing out about an exam, who is stressing out about anything going on in their lives, just don't. Life is too short to stress. And what really frustrates me is that as a society, we put so much emphasis on results rather than the amount of effort that someone puts into something. And I just think I am proud of anyone who has put in a lot of work. And it's sad. It's sad that our schooling system is so outdated and so behind the times that it puts so much emphasis on results and not encouraging people to discover their strengths and build on their weaknesses. I just think that is really, really shit. And I just want you to know that I'm so proud of you. If you have really been working hard for this test, and what's the worst that's going to happen? You fail. I'm proud of you, and you really need to be proud of yourself. And I can't force other people to be proud of you, and the fact that they're not is shit. It says more about them. It says more about us as a society, because effort doesn't always correlate to results. I achieved a lot of results early on in my life, but I didn't put any effort in. And then I got to experience this firsthand when suddenly I was putting more effort than I'd ever put into anything in my life, and I was going nowhere. And it sucked. It was hard. That was a real big eye-opener for me. And I think the hardest bit was to suddenly realize what people are actually like in society. and how they treat you differently, you know, for many different reasons, but particularly for how well you fit this like model when you're at school. I mean, the schooling system is 100 years outdated. That's a fact. And I guess they slowly try and change it, but not really fast enough. I mean, school does not prepare you for the real world. It did 100 years ago, because the current schooling system that we use now was actually designed during the Industrial Revolution. So everything about school, from having a bell, from having classes, for having teachers, for sitting at a desk, scheduled like eating times, scheduled like break times, asking permission to go to the toilet, and just like being given tasks. The whole curriculum and the whole school setup was designed to create workers for the Industrial Revolution. The trouble is, we value free thinking now in the real world. We want people to be productive and creative and think for themselves, but school doesn't teach you to do that. School and parenting teaches you to do as you're told. So all of us, I don't know, like nearly everyone that I know, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that I went to school with that didn't fall on their ass when they left school. And I think, in a way, those people who fell on their ass during school actually ended up being further ahead than the rest of us, who were, like, succeeded through school and then just got dropped off a fucking cliff, like, when we left school. And I think I'm going to do some other videos on some really motivational stories that I remember when I feel completely inadequate, because there are people out there who have achieved the most incredible things and who have come from nothing. I mean, Albert Einstein was shit at school. Oprah Winfrey got told, like, she got fired from her first few journalist jobs because she got told that she wasn't fit for TV. Now look at her. She owns her own goddamn, like, TV network. There is so many people out there that are just such an inspiration, and I remember them, and I put myself in the category of them, and I remind myself that every time I fail, I'm actually getting one step closer to succeeding, because failure gives me the skills that I need to ultimately succeed. If you don't fail at anything, then you don't know how to work hard. You don't know how to solve problems. You don't get a fiery determination. And I think we should embrace those failures. I think we need to stop looking at failure as a bad thing. And, you know, this just isn't a video to anyone who is struggling out there, who is feeling stressed about a test or is feeling stressed about something that's going on in their lives. It's a video to all of those people that put pressure on kids, that put pressure on anyone to just deal with stuff. You know, like, we're meant to succeed, and it's not meant to stress us out. Like, life stresses you out. Life is hard. And if you think school is hard, it is just going to get a shit ton harder. But as much as I think school and education is extremely important, it's not a big deal. I mean, I know, like, in Australia, if you want to get into university, that's fine. You really don't have to graduate. The only reason you have to graduate is if you want to get into university straight away. But let me tell you, the year after you graduate high school, all of a sudden you're a mature age student, so there are alternative pathways to get into university. I know people that are now psychiatrists. My psychiatrist didn't go to university until she was 40 years old. And, you know, our world is too linear, and it really sucks. And it breaks my heart to think that someone is putting pressure on themselves, or there are other people putting pressure on them to do well. And if you're one of those people, stop it. And if you are just stressing yourself out of your mind, if you are driving yourself towards suicide, you just need to take a step back and some deep breaths and listen to my videos. Let me tell you that it's all going to be okay, because it will. I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not. But in the grand scheme of things, anyone else watching this video who is, like, quite far out of school will tell you that school is really insignificant. It seems like such a big deal at the time, but ultimately it's not. You don't have to have your whole life figured out, and the fact is you probably won't have your whole life figured out. And if you think that you have your whole life figured out, well, you're probably going to be in for a rude shock, like I was. And you'll dwell on that shock for a while, but you really shouldn't. I think we just need to have faith in, you know, destiny, in life, and just be a little bit more flexible and accepting of ourselves, and stop judging ourselves by everyone else's highlight reel, whether it be on social media, celebrities, like whoever it is that we look up to and we aspire to be. Sometimes we need to look at actually how long it took them to get to that point, how hard it was to get there, and really remind ourselves of that. So I don't know whether this rant has just become long-winded now. Let me know if you got anything out of it, and if there was any particular issues that you, or like parts of it that you want me to elaborate on more, because this is a topic I don't think I've spoken about that much, but I'm really passionate about it because it's very much what I've lived through. And it's an interesting realization. And I'm going to try and put that kind of into words, the different parts of it, the different lessons that I've learned. Because I don't really remember anyone kind of saying that to me. And if they did, I really didn't believe it. So, yeah. If anyone is feeling suicidal right now, my heart breaks for you. Because I know what that is like. And my only advice is to accept it for right now. Because I'm not going to lie to you, there is no, like, cure, like, instantly, you know. I've pretty much been suicidal my whole life. And it's literally only been the last couple of months, after 6 years of, like, intensive treatment, and probably 10 years of other kind of on and off treatment, to get to a point where I have not been suicidal in a month. So keep going, not in the stupid way that most people would say that, but just don't ever give up trying to get better. I love you all, and I hope to bring you some more videos soon.